Hey everybody, it is JPT back here with Rimworld. Super addicted to this game, super addicted. So one thing that I did off camera, this is the only thing I've done off camera, is I've gone into the overview and there is a way of doing manual priorities. Now I don't know if checking that is going to make this all go away, but this is a way of prioritizing your individual people here. And basically, normally it would just it would start with this and it would go to down. So obviously this, anything in this direction gets a higher priority. This gets a lower priority. But of course, your people have different traits. So if we look at Tippy, for example, they really like combat. They are a decent shooter, but they also really like growing in research. So one of the things that I did with Tippy is I put research as a really high thing for them to do. Everybody should always be set to firefighting. I've learned that the hard way. I actually have a map that I'm playing just off camera just so I can learn the game a little bit. Plus, I'm totally addicted to it. I don't want to burn it out, but there have been some long night sessions of Rimworld with just me by myself. I might also use that map to stream. I don't know. That's not a promise, but a couple people have asked me about that. So firefighting is the highest priority. Now, you could use one for the one main thing that you really want them to focus on. So in this case, I could do one for growing, but you don't really have to because you're not going to be Tippy's not going to be wardening. Is that a word? Really that much. So then it would automatically default to the next two down the scale, which would be growing. And well, if Tippy's not growing, they're researching. So I could keep that a 1 just so that I know that that's their priority, and I'll probably do that. JPT, that's me. Technically, I would put cooking ahead of doctoring because you're really not going to do as much doctoring as you're going to be doing cooking. So I can make that a 1. Now I know somebody's going to look at this and be like, oh, you should be doing it this way. This is just my way of doing it. So just let me do what I'm doing. We don't necessarily need 2 people growing. So actually, Dorman, I'll put that back to 2, and I'll put Dorman as our main grower, because I think Dorman actually has a higher, let's see, growing Dorman compared to Tippy. Yeah, so Tippy has not a lower growing thing than Dorman, so there you go, changing that on the fly. Dorman doesn't really do a lot for us other than the social part, so Dorman will probably be doing a lot of the calling on the comm thing here. So let's see, it's still really hot, so I've still got them kind of sleeping in this cooler, which is not the ideal situation you should probably put your people in, but that's just what it is. So this, again, it's not a very exciting episode, but it does kind of show you guys some of the stuff you got to deal with. And I wish you could have the character menu and the overview menu pulled up at the same time, but that does not seem to be the case. Chloe's a pretty good constructor, so we want to make sure that's turned on. Okay, it is. Yeah, I guess this would follow the right scale. 4 is the lowest one. If you keep clicking, then it changes to just a blank. And there's really no reason to leave it blank, I think, unless they're just terrible at everything. And these people aren't. Jake is kind of my wild card. He's good hunting at constructing. He's a good miner. He is interested in crafting. He can also haul things. So actually, let me turn hauling up on Dorman because there's that. And Jake, I figured, could also clean if they want to. So he'll actually clean before he will haul anything, which is kind of what I'm going for. It's nice to having 4 people because you can kind of set one of them to be a grunt. And Jake's the most recent one, so he gets to clean the whole place up. Another thing that I do want to take a look at is, of course, we have this dumping stockpile, but we kind of want to make it so that it's hard for enemies to come into our base. But the other thing that you also want to keep in mind is that if you dump a bunch of stuff into a stockpile, people will walk real slow across it, including your own settlers. Settlers? I don't know what to call these people. Colonists. There we go. This isn't necessarily the ideal spot for these, in my opinion, now because of what I've experienced, but it's just what we're going to deal with. As you can see, we have this really big circle. That's sort of the sphere in which they can shoot. So one of the things that I'm going to do is I want to actually not production, security. I want to put sandbags around these things so that it has the possibility of absorbing some shots. So let's say some of those bad guys decide to shoot things, you could do that. There are a couple other ways you could do this. Again, you could put a stockpile around these so that if they're coming to like shoot it up close, it takes them a little bit longer to do that. But I think I'm going to try the sandbag technique. I haven't tried it in my other game, outside of maybe setting up sandbags for my guys to stand behind when they're shooting. There really isn't an easy way of doing this in my opinion, but what we could do is we could set up, and you know what, let's go ahead and have them haul these things off. So they'll haul them over here actually, kind of get them out of the way. And go ahead and haul these. And let's get rid of these while you're at it. And I don't know if that's actually going to be big enough for all those. So what we want to do is probably set up a zone. Let's see, a dumping stockpile, another zone. We could make actually it. We could make it long and skinny between these. So let me delete that one. Let me delete this one. That way we can kind of start fresh. So I think what I'm actually going to do here, this could get interesting. So I'm going to do wood wall every other. That doesn't quite work, does it? Let's do it this way. So this will allow kind of like a shooting gallery of sorts, so that if someone's standing behind this, they'll be in full cover. But if they're standing in here, they'll have like half. So that way, if somebody's coming from this direction, like let's say Tippy's the bad guy, we would be able to manually set people up here and shoot across. So one of the things that I would want to do is I would maybe want to make a dumping stockpile. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 8, right? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then we would set this to only accept, we don't want it to accept bodies because there's actually something else we could do with that now. And it may actually be more ideal to add to this dumping stockpile in front of these guys like that. Now these graves are going to end up getting moved and someone's going to be terrified because they're going to have to move this illuminator. But hey, it is what it is, as I like to say. We're going to set up just a body pile, a place to bury bodies, a big dump right here. And the only thing we'll accept is corpses, and that will be only human corpses, not mechanicoid or anything like that, just humanoid. And you can also allow buried corpses so that someone, if they get dug up, which these are going to get dug up, they'll do that. So I'm going to deconstruct all these. Someone's going to be terrified because they're going to see a dead body come out of there. And it's actually going to be kind of funny, in my opinion. And so they will actually end up hauling all of this stuff off. Okay. So let me put my money where my mouth is. And have them start filling this up. And watch, we'll probably get somebody attacked from over here, but that's fine. So everybody's acting on different priorities now. So let's see. Jake is deconstructing the grave. The reason for that is because constructing is his high thing. We haven't set him to hunt anything yet. You'll see what happens as soon as I do that. But he's a constructor at heart, so he's actually going to be the one to do that. Let me make sure that he actually has the mental capacity for that. He's not going to freak out. Okay. So like he's actually had some pretty rough. His mental break threshold is 10%. Right now his mood's at 34. So we should be okay. But again, he's going to kind of freak out. Now what am I doing? I'm mining compacted steel, which is way over here. And actually I'm going to unmine that. So I'm going to cancel that. So that way that'll get picked up I do want to get the silver that's way up here. Where's that silver at? Here it is. We're actually going to set this to be mined instead. Actually, before we do that, let me... I'm going to add a no roof region to all this so that it doesn't possibly collapse on us. I have to keep an eye on that because we want to make sure that we don't get killed when that collapses. That may not be the exact way of doing it, but it's worked out so far. So I've read the wiki quite a bit. I read the wiki in my off time. I've learned quite a few things. We could technically claim this, and the way you do that is you just click claim, and you do that. And now what we can do is, I've always had a problem with this, is we can now deconstruct this for these materials. So we could get some sandstone walls for cheap that way. Pretty cool, right? So like he completely was like, nope, because guess what? He is the cooker. His priority is cooking. So he is going to come here and cook these things to at least 50 of those and store them in here, of course. Dorman, sowing that daylily. Jake is still deconstructing the grave. Here we go. Oh, not quite yet. We'll see him deconstruct this one and freak out. Of course, it's extremely hot outside. I don't know if taking their clothes off helps. Oh, wait, no. Dorman is doing it. Oh, Dorman. Are you okay? Oh, you're really close to your prey threshold. This could be bad. Dorman could potentially have a mental breakdown. Okay. So you haven't seen it yet. McGrath, naked and dead. It's going to spoil in 2.1 days. Where's Jake at? I'm going to tell Jake, actually, to haul that body off rather than Dorman. And we'll see if Dorman's thoughts have changed. Okay, they didn't. That's good. That's good. I haven't actually played in this particular mode in a long time. Okay, hospital bed, we don't want that as of right now. Like, it'll remember your progress, which is really good. What I want, stone cutting is always good to have. Gun turret cooling I have found to be decent as well. Carpet making will help in terms of the way everything looks. We could go a couple different ways with this. Mortars would be another one we could maybe take a look at. I really want stone cutting, but I'm going to go with gun turret cooling because that'll actually allow us to shoot 4 shots instead of 3 when it shoots that off. And as you can see, Tippy is hard at work because that is Tippy's priority, is research. So if you're not growing, you're not wardening, you're researching. And I like that. It's kind of this nice balance. So we'll unpause that. Jake, let's see. Jake, are you freaking out because you're carrying a dead body? No? Usually people do, but that's fine by me. So we'll speed this up a little bit. I'm actually really used to sleeping in, or not sleeping, playing in this mode. Okay, so Jake didn't freak out about that. Mental break. Who's having a mental break? Dorman. Yeah, see, getting really close. So how can we improve this? Okay, the bedroom thing I can understand. So maybe what we need to do is, if we're having this heat wave, where's Dorman's bed at? Like, we could make this Dorman's bed, and if we really, really wanted to, we could give Dorman their own room. This is a very, very cramped room. And so nobody's really complaining about that because possibly this room is bigger. But I totally understand. So let me set the owner as Dorman here. If not, we could actually move a bed into here, and we might get a better space bonus for them because it's a bigger room. Let's see. Let's go ahead and deconstruct that. Like so. And we might want to go ahead and just, let's see if Dorman freaks out about the space thing yet. Let's see, Dorman. Let's unpause it. Okay, so no longer sharing a room. No longer going to sleep on the ground. Still very hot. Hasn't really complained about the the space yet because I don't think they've been in there. I think that's how maybe it works. So really what we want to do is we want to work on getting bigger rooms for people. I would really actually like to connect it to this area. We don't really need this any longer, so we'll be able to expand all of our resources here. So I think actually what I want to do is I may want to go ahead and just build a room off of here and here. And so that'll leave us 1, 2, 3. So it'll be 4 wide. You know, this room is going to be overkill, but I'll go ahead and make it anyways. So that way we have a refrigerator on both sides. Ooh. Is that going to make this room hotter, though? I didn't really think about that. What we could do is we could put a door here. And like a door... Let's see... It's weird because it defaults all these back to steel, so it throws me off thinking that... I was like, oh, we don't have anything yet. We may have to run power to that if we need to. We should be good here. So this will become a room. And this will become a room. And then what we could do is we could make this a room and then this a room. And hopefully these won't, like I could just take this door out, leave a bed in here, leave this for prisoners. I think that sounds like a good plan. Or at least a plan, not the best plan. Just working well with what we got here. Uh-oh. Someone's going to have a mental break. Dorman's still freaking out about something. Yeah, hungry. So, hey, how about you? Yeah. So now they're going to eat. And you're going to get those, like, you're going to get that one colonist that's just freaking out. That is what it is, I suppose. So let's see, actually, if they're hungry. Yeah, see, so now they're going up because they're not freaking out so much. And we're all kind of sleeping in here. But Dorman... Okay, so yeah, see, here it is. Very cramped environment. And so I think if we kind of do what I just talked about, we should be okay. So what we'll actually end up doing is we will get rid of that bed. We'll deconstruct that, and we'll actually make this a prisoner's bed. And prisoners are going to freak out. I mean, that's just a part of it. So we'll get rid of that, and actually we'll also go ahead and deconstruct this lamp. One of the things that I had been doing... Actually... Yeah, see, this is a sun lamp, and that's bad, in my opinion, because it takes up 600 watts. So really what we want to do to save power is use one of these standing lamps instead. And so we would put it there in that place. So I'm actually going to deconstruct all these, because you want to save as much power as possible. And we may actually not make this a room. The more I think about it, we may just build like a room off of here, because we'll want to stack up these batteries. Although that could be a bad idea. I've kind of thought about that. I may actually move some of the batteries over here. So this might still work out for a room. We'll go ahead and deconstruct those. And let's go ahead and make a standing lamp. Why is this? That was weird. No. I want to see a standing lamp. We'll put one here. Let's go ahead and put one there. I guess we'll just swap the position of those two, and then we'll deal with the other lamps. Traditionally, when everyone's sleeping, I'll speed it up real fast. And as soon as I see someone get up, I'll crank it back down to the second speed here. Oops. A little premature. There we go. So Dorman is up. Dorman's taking care of business, and we'll go ahead and get rid of that. So Dorman's coming in here, taking apart all this other stuff. Basically prioritizing taking apart all the lamps. Now taking the bed apart and taking that apart. So this may not be the best room. It's not the best room size, I can tell you that right now. Traditionally, I think 4 by 5 is ideal to keep them consistently happy, in my opinion. But it's Dorman's room nonetheless. Everyone else will be able to move. Tippy just went straight to that. What are you doing now, Dorman? Are you helping? Yeah, so you're help deconstructing, but I actually want to prioritize you to... okay, it's not letting me... I don't want to haul. I want you to work on that lamp. And then eventually I'm going to prioritize them to work on these. So come on back down. Where am I at? Okay. I'm taking care of this steel. And as a matter of fact, that's really bad because I just randomly was like, go mine all this stuff. That probably wasn't a good idea. We don't have a ton of it. But we don't necessarily need it all either. So that's silver, which we could use so that when we're in comms, we can take care of it. I'm sure I went around the map and did all that on that stuff, which sucks, but hey. That's what we got ourselves into. So Dorman's hauling this stuff away. Gonna build this lamp. I think. No. What are you doing? I could look. Okay, so we're building those doors. Now what are you doing? Yeah, so right now we don't want Dorman to be like deconstructing, even though that is like the next thing. So that's kind of the weird challenge you run into. Sometimes you just have to like tell them to like work on the wooden wall instead. That would be better. So that is going to do it for this episode. As you can see, we're just kind of consistently working. I've learned so much. So much. No. Work on this wooden wall. I'm sure there's a way of fixing that, but I don't mind micromanaging. It's kind of fun sometimes. Eating from a simple meal. Okay. So that is going to do it for this episode of Rimworld. Thanks so much for watching. Leave any feedback you have in the comments section below. Leave those likes. I would appreciate it. And feel free to subscribe at any point. So until next time, this is JPT. Go play your games, and I'll be seeing ya.